Eduardo, Tara, Gabriel.
Okay, we'll give them just a second then. We'll give them till 3 minutes after, and then we'll get going on this. Let me get the information up and ready to go. Okay. We're at the 2 minutes after. I know that we're close. Let's just go ahead and record. Oh, somebody's already recording. Good.
Yep.
Those that are late, let's just let them take a listen to what this is, because there's a lot that we need to cover this week. Okay, all of you got back your presentation. Anybody have any questions on the grading comments for the presentation?
I didn't get the presentation back.
Did everybody else?
I don't think I did.
Okay, well, this isn't good.
Yeah, I'm double checking, but I didn't think I did.
Okay, stand by 1 minute. Which section are you? You're 9.
9.
Okay, there's 9. Presentation. You're Russia. Oh, crud. Okay. Yours, I've just got to finish it. I mean, I've got the last section to do. I'll have that for you within like half an hour after we get done with the meeting here. I didn't realize, I thought I'd finished all of them and sent them out. So I'll get that out to you right away. Grading on the final paper, that's still going to take me another couple of days. Remember that I've got 9 papers and they're all about 30, 35 pages long. So that takes me just a little bit of time to do. Now, let me talk to you about the rubric that we're going to be talking about this week. And this is the rubric for your Element A paper. Make sure that I did that right. Yes. You do not have the explicit rubric. It's done, and I just need to get it mailed out to you. And so by probably right after I get done, I'm going to prioritize doing your presentation, and then I'll get this explicit rubric out. But we're going to go over the explicit rubric right now. And I want to remind you again that the implicit rubric that you have that's on Canvas has exactly the same requirements. So there's nothing that's different. The only difference is on explicit, I've been a little bit more detailed to make sure that you cover everything and to help you, so that you don't leave something out. But the requirements are exactly the same. Okay, so with that in mind, let's jump in. And here's the rubric. So what you're going to do, the cover sheet and the statement are going to be the same as they always have been in what you do. Then we get down into section 2.1. And section 2.1, oh, I need to ask, oh, you don't know. Wait a minute. I'm going to have to find out, what were your products?
We had wool clothing, we had a depression medication, and we had Eduardo's superfoods.
Like they were like grains, quinoa, certain things that you don't grow in Russia.
Okay.
Special clothing line and a depression medication that was approved by Russia but not easily found in Russia.
Okay. Do you have a preference as a group as to which one of those that you do?
I don't know if we've gotten that far.
We haven't talked over it yet.
Okay. The reason that I'm asking is because there's been several of the groups where I've left it up to them. The only products that I've eliminated is if you have chosen a product that would give you a problem on project 2 on meeting the rubric requirements. I can't see.
Do you have a recommendation?
Well, the only one that I can see that might give you a problem might be the vegetables. And that is that a lot of companies put a high tariff on the importation of any type of farm products or farm equipment or something like that. So you may have a problem there. You'd have to take a look at it. But from what you have just said, and I'm not going to tell you to do it, I'm just going to say that I think that you might have a better shot with the pharmaceuticals as long as they have been approved in Russia and you're not going to have a problem getting them through customs. Or maybe you'll make them in Russia. Remember, the other consideration is going to be that you have to import something. So whether it's the whole pill itself or whether it's an ingredient and you assemble or mix or manufacture the pill, you're going to have to import something. And the last thing is that you're going to need to show that you've met an unmet need or an underserved market. So those are the criteria when I'm looking at those and choosing a product, I make sure that you're going to be able to reach those criteria. So with that in mind, it sounds to me just off the top that pharmaceuticals might be good for you, but I wouldn't eliminate the clothing. So you may want to do that. But I think you're going to run into problems with fruits and vegetables. Is that did I understand right? That was what you were thinking of, was fruits and vegetables? Because
well, grains that are specifically grown in the South America, specialty grains like quinoa and some other weird named ones that they don't have access to in Russia.
Okay, as long as you felt that you had a market for those and then take a look at the tariffs, if you wanted to go with that, you'd be all right with that as well. So
At this one, I'm probably leaning. Is this where we talk about what we want to do, or we just wait till after this part and then?
No, wait till after this
Okay.
part, and then you can decide how you're going to do that. The reason that I was asking is because this will directly relate to 2.1.
Right.
2.1 is you are describing in detail the finished good that you're going to be selling to the supplier. Or not supplier, excuse me, to the public. The reason that I'm pointing that out is because now I'm going to switch over to the rubric for element B, and I want you to notice 12.2. Where is it? There we go, 12.1. 12.1 says to describe and discuss in detail the finished good, equipment, component, parts, subassembly, etc., that you will be importing into the country. So there could be a difference between your product and what you're importing. If you're importing something and then going to put it together, then you're going to be talking about that in 12, and you're going to be talking about the finished product in 2. Now, if it's the same thing, let's say that you chose the pharmaceuticals and you were importing the entire, or your grains. If you're saying that the grains come from another country, then you would be importing the entire product. I just thought of a reason. You probably want to shy away from grains. The reason for that is because you really are talking multiple products here. We're calling them grains, but there's 5 or 6 different grains that you would be importing, and that can cause you some problems. So I think I would shy away from the grains. So the examples then that I'll use for this, what we're talking here, and I'm sorry, that almost sounds then like that may be the same problem when you're talking about clothes. If you're talking about importing coats and pants and boots and stuff like that, you can do it, and I'm not going to tell you can't, but your life will be more miserable if you're trying to do that than if you've just got one product. So if you've got pharmaceuticals and all we're talking about is one pill coming in, then or one supplement or whatever it is coming in, then you're probably going to be better off that way. But again, I'll let you decide. But just understand that on 12.1, you are talking about whatever it is that you're importing, whereas with 2.1, you're talking about the finished good that you're selling to the public. Then we get down here, and you need to specifically justify how you are addressing an unmet need or an underserved market. I want you to notice that it says to use facts, figures, analysis, and business justification. So you don't say, well, in my gut, I feel, Or as one group earlier told me, well, we talked to a person that served a mission over there. That's not facts, figures, analysis, and business justification. That means that that person was looking for something and couldn't find it. The next thing that you're going to be looking at is what's called a VRIO analysis, VRIO. Now, you've already, this is a tool that you will use, and I'll explain it to you. But I want you to remember, you've already learned about the tool for Hofstede cultural dimensions and how that helps you. You've learned about the tool for EFI and how that helps you. The VRIO analysis is going to have you look at your product and determine how saleable this is and how valuable it might be to the public. This is not a marketing tool. Nobody's going to see this except your company. So don't fluff it up. You need to be very realistic and honest in your evaluation. So what you are going to be looking at, VRIO stands for value, rarity, imitability, and organization. And you are going to determine how those apply to your product. So let's take value. When we talk about value, people usually immediately go in and say, that's price, that's cost, money. That's not what value is. Value is determined by the price of in your head. What is it of a value to you? What are you willing to pay for it? Let me give you an example. For those of you that drink bottled water, if you go down to 7-Eleven, how much are you willing to pay for a bottle of water? What's it worth to you?
Not the $2 they charge.
Yeah, well, if you're doing $2, you're going to the wrong place. About $1, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe $1.25 is what it's going to cost you. And are you willing to pay that? Yeah, probably. If you like bottled water and you want to do that, you're willing to pay $1.25. Let's change the circumstances just a little bit. You decide that you want to go hiking in the desert. And so you get out, and any of you that have hiked in the desert, you know that how hard it is to walk through sand. It's tiring. You're exerting a lot of energy. It's 110 degrees. The sun's beating down on you. And you look down and find out that your canteen has got a leak in it. You don't have any water. And you have to decide, am I going to turn back or keep going? And you say, I'm going to keep going. So you do. About 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you come around and there's a sand dune there. And lo and behold, here's that same guy from 7-Eleven that sells water for $1.25. And he's run an extension cord from 7-Eleven out to the sand dune. And he's got a cooler of nice, cool water. And you say, boy, and he says, would you like to buy a bottle of water? And you say, boy, you ain't a kidding, I would. Am I glad you're here? Here's my $1.25. And he goes, no, it's $20. Okay, now, if you've got the $20 in your wallet, are you going to buy that bottle of water for $20? And I can save you thinking about it. The answer is yes. And so here's a bottle of water that on one set of the scales is worth $1.25, and on the other is worth $25. And so that's what value is. And you create value in your product with the things that we're going to talk about in this lesson. A product plan, a pricing plan, things like that. So that's value. Rarity, how hard is it to get your product? Now, Nathan, from what you've just said a minute ago, is that you're talking about a pharmaceutical product or a supplement that has been approved by Russia, but is not readily available in Russia. So now you have got rarity. People are going to be willing to pay for that rarity. Imitability, that's going to be depending upon how easy is it for someone to imitate your product. Well, if I take the pill or the supplement that you've got, and I don't know which it is, but I'm going to call it a supplement from here on out. So you've got your supplement. You can take that down to a lab. They can analyze it and come right back and tell you how to create a pill or a supplement just like the one that you've got. How long will it take them to do that? Let's say 2 months, 3 months to set up manufacturing, to get the packaging, to make arrangements with the seller to get it on there. So imitability, Yes, your product is easy to imitate. How long is it going to take them to do that? Let's talk about that in 3.2. You're also going to have to talk about a competitive advantage. And so how are you going to make your product competitive to your competitors? And you're going to have to decide after you define, but you notice the very first thing says to define competitive advantage. After you do that, now you have to decide, does my product have a competitive advantage? Is there value, rarity, imitability? Does that give me an advantage over my competitors? If the answer is no, then you're going to have to state why don't you have that competitive advantage. If the answer is yes, now you state why you have that competitive advantage. But now you're going to need to go one step further, and you're going to have to say, is that advantage sustainable? So you're either going to have a temporary advantage or you're going to have a sustained advantage. The faster that somebody can put a product out that's similar to yours and in competition with you, then the shorter you're going to have that advantage. So, particularly if you're living in China, you're going to put out an electronic phone or something like that. How long can you maintain a competitive advantage? About 3 weeks. Now, if you're doing it the other way, tell me, how do you think in your mind, give me a way that you can extend that period of your advantage, your competitive advantage. What's a way you could do that?
Patents.
What is it? Patent.
Patents.
Patent is probably your best way right there. You can do copyright to some extent. You can do a trademark.
Trademark.
But when you do that, you're going to have a 7-year sustained advantage. And that's what you want to do. If there's a way for you to do that, that's how you want to do it. Okay, now we get down into competitor analysis, and I want to talk about that right along with specific target market. And so when you do a competitor, when you do a competitor's analysis, what you are doing is, let me put it in military terms. Some of you have been in the military, or I know you've seen John Wayne movies, and the general goes out and he picks up the binoculars and he looks through there and he gets an idea. What equipment does the enemy have? How well are they prepared? What are they going to be able to do? Well, that's what you have to do to anybody that you are going to go in competition with, is you have to evaluate that. And so what you want to do is not make the mistake that a lot of people do when you say, well, let me tie that in. Let me come down to specific target market first. One of the first things that you're going to have to do is to define that target market, because that target market, you may have a product and there may be, let's say, 3 competitors out there that all sell that same product. But maybe each one of those competitors have a different target market. So one of them is targeting children or growing up as a supplement for a child growing up. Another one might have a target market of the old folks home and the nursing home. And another one might have a target of the general public. So before you can do a competitor analysis up here in 4.0, you've got to decide who is your specific target market. So what you do is, and the other reason for that is because if you don't have a specific target market, you're going to walk into your vice president and say, hi, this is our product, and I need an advertising budget, and $2 million should be just fine. Now, after she gets through laughing and she pulls herself off the floor and sits back down, she's going to tell you, you can have $20,000. Now, you have to say, how do I get the best bang for my buck? How do I use that $20,000 to bring a profit into the company? Well, the way that you do that is that you are going to narrow down your market from everybody in Mexico, and you are going to look at certain factors. So, for example, age might be a factor. Gender could be a factor. Geographical location could be a factor. Economic situation and status could be a factor. All of these things will help you to determine who your specific target market is. So in 5.0, you're going to be very specific and you're going to say, this is who my target market is. Now we come back up to your competitor analysis. Now you can go after and say, all right, who's after that same market that I am? And how can I counter that? Now, let me give you a sidelight here. I'm going to tell you all how you can earn some extra points, extra personal points. How many of you here are familiar with a SWOT analysis? SWOT. Anybody? Okay, one. Let me tell you what a SWOT analysis is, because if you are going to be in business, I can guarantee you that you will use a SWOT analysis at some point in your career. SWOT stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It comes in a 4-grid box. And on the left side is about your company, and you're going to be talking about your strengths and your opportunities. On the right side is your competition, and you're going to be talking about weaknesses and threats. And so a weakness might be that they sell a supplement similar to yours, but they're being sued by somebody because somebody got sick from using that supplement. And so right now they've got bad press, things don't look good for them, and so that's a weakness. Now, you may have a strength in that you have got extra advertising money. And so you can go out and you can talk about how safe your product is, and maybe you have 100 other pharmaceuticals that you sell, and you've never had any trouble with them. So you can use that as a strength that you have. So you can use, if you want to, you can use a SWOT on 4.0, and you put that together as a team if you want to, and then you plug it in there, but it's only a part. That's not your section 4.0. That's just a part, and then you have to discuss it. Now, here's where you can get some extra points. There is also an extension to the SWOT, and it's called TOWS. You'll notice that it's spelled with the same letters, TOWS. Stands for the same thing, threat, opportunities, weaknesses, and strengths. The difference between a SWOT and a TOWS is that in a SWOT, you're just stating, here's the weaknesses, here's the strengths, here's the opportunities, here's the threats. With a TOWS, what you're doing is you're going in and saying, oh, look, they've got this weakness, and we've got this strength, and we can, by using that strength, we can take advantage of their weakness. And so outside of this 4-grid box, you've got some other columns that you put by using analysis. How can I use this? What opportunities do we have? Well, maybe you've got an opportunity to extend into a region of Mexico that the other company is not in right now. So there's you an opportunity. And their weakness then is that they don't serve that geographical area. So now you put in together a solution that says, we'll use our strength of a good distribution system to counter their weakness of not being able to reach the market in that area. If you do a TOWS, that is individual credit. And what you need to do is when you turn it in, you type in your last name, your country and section number, and then you put TOWS extra credit. And you send that to me at my email address. Don't submit it through Canvas or I won't get it. You submit it to me, and then you'll be able to get some extra points that way. So that's what you're going to do on your target market and on your competitors analysis. Identify who your target market is, narrow it down as much as possible. Don't get too narrow. Somebody asked me in the last one, should we say something like our target market is a male between 24 and 26? No, now you're getting a little too specific. So, you know, your target market, well, they were using a building material. And so the example that I used with them was, you're going to look for people that are in an age group where they would use a building material. It's probably going to be a male because normally they are the ones that do the outside of the house and the female is the one that does the inside of the house. So that's how you look at it. So make it as narrow as possible And that way you can focus your money on where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. Now let's go down to brand development. One of the things that you're going to need to do is you define a positioning statement. How do you want to position your company to your potential customers? And once that you understand what a positioning statement is, now you're going to write a positioning statement for your company or for your product. You'll notice that you're using target market, you're using marketing positioning, you're using all of these to put together your positioning statement. In 6.2, now you're talking about, are you going to have to do any adaptations to your product to sell it to your target market? Rather than me giving you a specific example on your product, because I haven't thought it through, I'll give you one for India. Let's suppose that you decide that you want a McDonald's franchise in India. If you do, one of the adaptations you're going to need to make is that you are going to have to sell chicken, because the only people that eat beef in India are the tourists. So if you're going to need to have a cultural adaptation and have other products and foods available that will be accepted by that market.
Brother Johns?
Yes.
I had a quick question. So Armani did the little background research on this, and she said that, for example, the stigma over there that Russians don't want to receive medical help. It's kind of just that old school mentality, basically tough it out or something like that. So are we talking about the delivery mechanism too in that situation that we can adapt?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll also notice down there it's talking about packaging, and so you may want to have packaging to help to make that adaptation. But that's a good example of what you just gave.
Okay. And then one other thing, if section 5 is needed before section 4, would it behoove us to have an earlier due date on that section for whoever is doing that?
Yeah, it probably would.
Like by a day or something?
Yeah, just enough, or you can make sure that the two people that are writing it are in contact with each other. They don't necessarily need to turn one in before the other one, but section 4 is going to need information from section 5 before they can write it. So whether that's texting or whether it's turned in or however it might be, that you need to have that flexibility. That's a good point, Nathan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now we get down, we talked about adaptation. Okay, describe the depth and breadth. Some people are not familiar with those terms, so let me tell you. Depth is when you have a product, and I'm going to use building material as an example. So we've got a piece of building material, and it comes in sizes 8 by 10, 8 by 12, and 8 by 14. Depending on how high you want your ceiling. It's the same product, it's just that you have given them different variations. It also comes in brown, yellow, orange, and fuchsia. And so that's going to be the depth of your product line. Now the breadth is, again, let me go back to the building materials. It might be that you not only sell the panel, but you also sell the windows that will go in the panel, and you also sell the doors. That's a breadth because it's more than one product. You've got panels, you've got doors, and you've got windows. So that's breadth. So that comes back to kind of what you guys, when we were talking about some of these before, like on the clothing, your breadth is going to be so much that it would give you a problem in section 2. So you need to describe the depth and breadth, but keep that in mind. Go ahead, Nathan.
I was just thinking, especially because the chat with Gabriel, if we do decide on the medication, for example, we wouldn't have much breadth, but our depth could be a time release capsule, different dosages, things like that.
Different dosages, yes, but if you went into a time release capsule, you've actually got a separate product.
Oh, okay.
So yes, it's delivering the same thing, but you're not going to sell it the same way.
So we're not going to have a lot to write about in this section is what I'm kind of getting at, I guess.
That's correct. There
Okay.
should not be a lot in that section. Okay, the next one on 6.4, you're going to have to find somebody in your group that has some creative juices. They get to design a prototype logo. Now, logos are not that easy to create, or well, for somebody that's got talent and ability in that, they're usually a snap. But you've got to understand that you don't just take something off of Google Images and put it on there and then put your name on there. You are going to have to decide what shape do you want it, what colors do you want it, what wording do you want it, how do you want it to look. And I'll tell you, I've seen some extremely professional logos come out of some of the students in this class. And I've seen others that, again, have a bowling date in an hour, and so they hurry up and go out and just grab something, or grab their kids' crayons and draw something. So don't do that. I mean, put some time, thought, and effort into this. Next one is going to be your sales and distribution strategy. This is asking you to decide between retail, wholesale, and distributor. I'm going to tell you that the way things were when I was a kid are not the way that things are right now. And so whereas it used to be very easy to distinguish what was retail, what was wholesale, and what was distributor, it's not that easy anymore. So let me give you an example, and I want all of you to vote. So we're going to have 5 votes here. Is Costco a wholesaler or a retailer? Don't be bashful. Jump right in there. I got 1 wholesale.
I'm saying wholesale.
Wholesale.
It says wholesale in the name, Costco.
It does say that in the name, but I think, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you now, somebody didn't vote. Who was it? Jacqueline, what do you got? Wholesale or retail?
Sorry, I had to unmute. I'd say wholesale also.
Okay. None of you are exactly right, but all of you together are right. Costco is both a wholesaler and a retailer.
Oh, Gabriel got it in the chat.
It's a retailer because you sell to the public. It's a wholesaler because I can buy my Wheaties from them for a whole lot cheaper than I can if I go to Kroger or Piggly Wiggly. Now, I have to buy my Wheaties in a 55-gallon drum, and the bottom of it is going to taste like cardboard, but nevertheless, they're both a wholesaler and a retailer. Now, see, when I was a kid, retailer meant brick and mortar, and I sold to the public. A wholesaler, I knew I was entering a wholesale place because there would be a sign that says not open to the public, businesses only, please bring a copy of your business license when you walk through the door. And a distributor was somebody with a huge warehouse that had products from 4 or 5 different manufacturers. A tire warehouse in the United States is a good example. If you've ever been to a tire distributor, they got the warehouse and they've got 10 different brands of tires. And you can go in, the tire shop can go in and say, I want 20 of those, 15 of these, and 50 of those. Things aren't that way anymore. Even when you get in now, you throw in social media marketing. And there's, you can come up with any different way that you want to, how you're going to do it. But you need to describe each one of the strategies until we can get them to reword this. You have to say that a whole retail strategy is this, a wholesale strategy is this, a distributor's this. And we have decided that we're going to employ, if you are going to do the pharmaceuticals, your best bet is, I'm not telling you what to do, and you can come up with other ways, but your best bet is probably going to be as a wholesaler, okay? And you're going to go out and sell to the drugstores or to the food stores or to the nutritional supplement stores your product, and they're going to put it on the shelf and sell it. So that's,
well,
go ahead.
If it's a depression med, though, we might have to work with actual psychologists and stuff.
Okay, if it's a depression med,
Not necessarily
well,
an Amazon model.
yeah, you're not going to be able to do the Amazon model if it's a depression medicine, because you will have to have, I'm assuming that you're going to have a prescription. But then you could wholesale it to drugstores.
Yeah.
Like for instance, so the angle that I went for in the report was, have you heard of the company? It's Roman or Roman. It's for like men's health. It helps with like erectile dysfunction, but they do it online. And so you put in your prescription from your actual doctor, and then they send it to you discreetly through the mail. But it's like discreet packaging and things like that.
Discreetly, I love that.
Right. That's what I was like, the angle I was trying to go for, where they get a prescription from an actual licensed person, but then we send it through.
And the answer is yes, you can do that. There are a bunch of those that are available right now. Drugstore.com. I've ordered from drugstore.com before. And that's just because of the price of certain pharmaceuticals in the United States. And I can go to a Canadian drugstore, and as long as I've got a doctor's prescription and it's got their doctor's number, whatever that's called, that control number on there, they'll fill that. So yes, that's a good idea, and that's a good thing to discuss and to consider. Okay, let's go down then. Now we're going to talk about sales strategy. Who's going to sell? Once you decide, let's suppose that you are going to sell to drugstores. Okay, then what you're going to do is, boy, this is a bad example. I'm going to go back to building materials, okay? So on a building material, you've got a choice to have your own internal sales force or to have an independent external sales force. There are pros and cons to both of those. If I have an internal sales force, I know that they are loyal to me. They are going to do what I tell them to do and what I want them to do. If I have an independent agent, that independent agent more than likely represents 4 or 5 different pharmaceutical companies. Wait a minute, that's why I'm staying away from pharmaceuticals. That's not true with pharmaceuticals. But in the business thing, when they're going to go in, they're specializing in building materials, and they may represent 3, 4, 5 different companies. The other thing with your own sales force is that I have to buy them a desk, a computer, I have to give them sick leave, I have to pay part of their taxes, I have to, there's just so many things that I have to do that I don't have to do with an independent agent. All I have to do is to pay them a commission when they sell something. But they're not going to be as loyal to me. And so if they go out to one of these building companies and they say, you know, I've got all of these different building materials, and the person says, well, I really need some SIP paneling, and I notice you sell SIP paneling from company A, company B, and company C. Which one would you buy from? Which one should I buy from? Now, what do you think the recommendation is going to be based on?
The best commission.
You bet it is. So A does 10%, B does 15%, and C does 25%. So he very quickly, or she, says to the person, oh, you need to buy this one. This is a much better panel. You buy from C. Okay, now what then happens is that they get in the car and they drive back to their office, and when they get there, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you what the last thing when their spouse said to them when they walked out the door that day. That was, don't forget, we're planning on going to the Cayman Islands as a family this summer. So, you know, get the money that we need. Okay, so that's why they recommended C. Now, when you get back to your office, there's a fax there from company A, and it says, got a promotion going this month, and whoever sells the most panels gets a free trip for them and their spouse to the Cayman Islands. This guy is immediately going to get on the phone and call the other one back up and say, you know, my conscience has been bothering me all day telling you that you should have bought from C. Actually, A is a much better product. It'll last longer. It's more durable, and that's the one that I use in my house. So that's the problem, Stan, and the advantages, the disadvantages between an internal sales force and an external sales force. Now, promotion strategy. First thing you do is you define brand positioning. You can't talk about it if you don't know what it is. So you go out and you find out what is brand positioning and how do you want to best position your brand. Is it going to be better on television? Is it going to be better on radio? How about bus stop bench? The Boy Scouts on a handbill, going over to state conference and putting it under everybody's windshield. So you take a look at how do you want to position your brand. Then that person with the creative juices that we talked about earlier, here's another opportunity for you. You get to create a rough advertisement. Now, again, I don't care. This can be radio, television, newspaper, Facebook, anything. I don't want you to get thrown off down to the bottom. It says if you want to use storyboardthat.com, you can. And that makes you think that you have to do a storyboard. You don't. They don't use storyboards much anymore. This is a holdover from when this course was originally designed about 10 years ago. And we haven't been able to get rid of it. But if you want to use storyboard that, you can. But use ingenuity to come up with it. I'm going to tell you the best advertisement that I've seen. And it was for a toilet bowl cleaner. And they did this on YouTube. So they actually filmed it. It took them a little time to do it, but they did an excellent job. And on that, here's the husband saying goodbye to his wife because she's going to the BYU Women's Conference. And he says, don't worry, I'll take care of the house and the kids. Then you get down to where it's about 4 hours before the wife's coming home, and the husband suddenly realizes he hasn't even pulled out the vacuum or done anything. So he runs in and he looks in the toilet and he sees that it's all dirty. He has no idea where the cleaning supplies are, and even if he did, he doesn't know which cleaning supplies to do it or how to clean the toilet. So he runs down to the store, and the product that these guys are advertising is right there, and he buys one, brings it home, squirts it around the toilet bowl, flushes it, and then little stars come out of the toilet bowl about the same time that his wife comes home and says, oh, honey, I'm so proud of you for keeping the house up while I was gone. It was really an excellent commercial and well thought out. So let your imagination run wild and do whatever you want to do. Now we get into pricing strategy. The first thing, again, that you have to do is you have to understand what pricing strategy is. And there are a number of different pricing strategies. I will give you just a couple of them right now. One of them is going to be premium pricing, okay? Companies like American Express and Apple use premium pricing. They will tell you right up front that their product is going to cost more than the other guy. And then they're going to tell you why. So with American Express, it's because you can go down to the concierge and get your suit pressed and sent to the cleaners and your shoes polished, and they'll be back the next day, and American Express takes care of it. With Apple, these are people that want to be able to let it hang out of their pockets so that people can see that apple with a bite taken out of it. Do you know that there are people that are actually willing to pay $1,200 for that new Apple phone? My phone cost me $350. You know what my phone will do that an Apple won't? I only have to charge this sucker every 5 days. With an Apple phone, you're charging it. You try going a day and a half and without a charge on an Apple. Okay, my prejudices just came through. I just can't believe people spend $1,200 for a phone. Another pricing strategy is, now see, I was thinking you guys are in Mexico, but you're in Russia. Let me use the Mexican market as an example. Mexicans and Asians, South Americans develop a brand loyalty. Once that they decide that they like a particular product, getting them away from that product is extremely difficult to do. The only way that you're going to do that is maybe their product, they're out of it that day when they go down to the store to buy it and they see yours and so they buy it. Another one might be that you put in promotions pricing, and for the first 6 months you sell the product at your cost or at 50% discount from wholesale or whatever it might be. And there are some people that will say, I'll take that bargain and I'll do it. And so that's promotion pricing. Another one might be geographical pricing. So you have one price in the rural area and you have one price in the urban area. So just be aware of the different pricing strategies that are there And then you need to determine which one of those pricing strategies that you are going to use, and then you need to justify why you've chosen that pricing strategy. Now down in 9.3, we're doing differentiation, product differentiation strategy. How is your product different? This is, you're going to take a lot of what you've already written in other sections and combine it into here and put it in here. But you need to come up with a profit or a product differentiation strategy and why you have developed that strategy. The next one is the BYU wants you to think through how your distribution is going to affect your pricing. Okay, so if you're going to ship your, if it's a pharmaceutical and you're going to ship it to the person by air freight, then the price of your product is going to be up a lot more than if you send it by somebody riding a bicycle. The same thing with promotion strategy. If your promotion strategy is television, that's going to cost you more than your promotion strategy for social media. Let me also quickly make sure that you understand, because I get a lot of people that say we're going to use social media because it's free. Social media is not free, and it's actually rather expensive because you have to have somebody that keeps your site up, updates it 2 or 3 times a day in order for it to be effective, can run a blog, can respond to things that are on there. Social media is not you putting out a static website and you don't change it except every 6 months. Okay, that then is what you're going to be working on this week. What questions do you have?
I mean, does our commercial have to be in Russian?
I actually had the Brazil group here about 2 semesters ago gave me an advertisement with Brazil, but it had the subtitles.
Subtitles, yeah.
I had one from Mexico I'm actually probably going to send that out to some people. There one on Mexico. Again, they used a little bit of innovation, and the cover slide, you could hear a bunch of people talking in the background, and then suddenly somebody came on and said, all right, everybody, it's time to get started. Let's go ahead and sit down, and I want to welcome you, and then went on. And then during their slides, they had a mariachi band playing very low volume in the background. I told them cut the mariachi band, but what they did with the initial cover sheet was really pretty good and pretty clever. But don't use a mariachi band in your slides. Any other questions?
Yeah, are you gonna, you said you're gonna email this rubric to us soon?
Yes, you should have that very quickly. It's all done. It's just I forgot to, what I have to do is to do a cut and paste and put it so that you have all of them together, and then I'll send that out to you. So you'll have that real quick. And I really do apologize to everybody. I'm sorry, I screwed up, okay?
So we have an extra week to do this then?
That's not Jacqueline. I appreciate the effort, but nah. Any other? See, I got another group that's just like that too. You know, they'll put me on record when I say something that I'm not supposed to. They'll say, "Now we're going to turn this in to BYU." Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I want to make a switch coming up here for this coming paper. Okay, I want to, Jacqueline, would you be the editor for us next on the thing coming up?
Yeah, actually, we already decided to switch the editor this time.
Well, then I don't have any say. Never mind. Boy, all of you just failed. Okay, let's give that a try and see what happens. Any other questions that you have? Okay, if you need me, please come to my office, okay? I really want to help you. I want you to get the best grade possible. And this is not like the government that says, hi, I'm here to help you. I really mean it. So come and if you have questions or want to just go over something, then do that and come. Go ahead,
And
Nathan.
I am going to take you up on that. And I haven't been in a research setting for the papers yet, so I'm going to take you up on that. Is it afternoons or what?
It's from 7 until 10 each evening. There's
Mountain
the-
Standard Time.
Mountain Standard Time. Now,
Okay.
here's some exceptions, okay? Monday and Tuesday, I'm with groups. Monday, I'm only gone for 2 hours. And I've forgotten what time it is Mountain Time. But Tuesday night, it's almost impossible to get me in my office because I start at 5 o'clock Mountain Time and go until you're my last group. So I go till 9 o'clock. The rest of the week, I'm usually there. I may step out if I've got a honeydew list or I want to spend $1.25 on a bottle of water. I may step out for just a minute. But if I do, the best thing for you to do is to just stick around for 15, 20 minutes and see if I come back, because I do get a text that tells me that you're in my Zoom office, and I will come back onto the thing. If maybe I'm at a church meeting or something else, if you've waited 15, 20 minutes and I haven't come back on, then just send me an email. It just says, can I meet you at such and such a time? Or when is convenient for you, or something like that. We've got one of the other guys is a group coordinator that comes in about 3 times a week, and he just comes in and does his homework while he's waiting for me if I'm not there. So I know that the other day he waited about an hour and a half because I scared him when I came on and says, hey, how are you? And he was quite expectant. So 7 to 10.
All right, thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Let me know if you need something, and you all have a wonderful evening. Oh, wait a minute. I see that there's 11 chats. Just a second. Do I need to look at any of those?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I need to look at Gabriel. She said thank you. Extra point for Gabriel. Or he said. Yeah, pretty much received. Haven't decided. Okay. Well done. Okay, good.
Well, I guess we're doing sections 1 through 9 or 2 through 9. And
Yeah.
there's, so that's 7 sections, 8 sections.
We'll figure that out in a second, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
We'll see y'all later. Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.
Y'all ready for another project?
Heck yes.
Good. Okay. So there is more sections than we have people, but there's only 40 points. So if you divide that among everybody, we should be doing around 6 points each.
I feel like we had that rubric so we could kind of really see like who would be best with which part.
Right.
Maybe, I don't know if you guys want to wait until we get it to divide it all up, or if you want to just kind of shoot now or what. But
Let's look at, so there's the implicit.
I can do 6 and then something else. I design logo for my own company.
1 second. What'd you say, Armani?
So if you like, the implicit rubric is virtually the same as the explicit one. It's just there's better instructions on the one on the right. So I think we can assign main things right now. It seems like the two that would be the problem would be the logo and the actual advertisement itself, which is not 8 or 9.
Yeah. So have you guys heard of Canva? It's like a marketing tool. I use it at work all the time to create like Instagram promotional things for work and stuff like that. I have that, which it's really cool. You can make really cool. You can
A
make
lot of
any.
pictures and stuff on it too, right?
Yeah, it's just for marketing as far as just like a logo with whatever we choose. And then even with, you know, like if we decide to go down the social media marketing route or whatever, could help with that kind of stuff. So I could definitely step in and help with that. I feel like I have like a good creative outlook sometimes when it comes to, that's what I do at work all the time. So
Yeah.
I think with the, if we, I guess we should decide what we're doing, the product, right? If we do if you do the medication, the logo shouldn't be too hard. So that'd be.
Yeah. Did we want to do the clothing brand? Because like, I feel like that's more interesting.
I feel like they're both really good options. I think like the medication, we could go, I think it might be easier in terms of like, because I was looking
Yeah.
at it earlier, just in terms of like hitting all the different points.
Mhm.
But I think too, with like distribution and marketing and things like that, the clothing line would actually be really good too, just
Yeah.
because, you know, it would just be easier to market and distribute, especially if we found a franchise to like work through.
Mhm.
And then if we stuck to one thing like cashmere sweaters or whatever, I mean, we wouldn't have to have like a full on, you know,
'Cause
clothing.
have you guys seen, so I don't know if you guys keep up with clothes, but like H&M, they do a conscious line, and it's like sustainable
Mm.
fabrics and things like that. And so, but another company came in to do that with H&M. And so we could do something similar with our
My
clothing.
research, like with Russia, they used to be in a like a depression, and so there was like super poor people and super rich people. So they had like, if you were shopping, you were buying high named brand stuff. They didn't really have a ton of like, you know, anything lower than just super nice places to go. And so now that they've actually joined the WTO and their economy is getting better, there's the middle class is rising and getting bigger. And so there's a need for that. I do think that there is an unmet need for more, and they don't have a ton of, you know, clothing, and they do like Western brands like Topshop and, you know, things like that. So I do think that there's a need for it. But I don't know. I think that Brother John's had a point of just, it's kind of tricky with like, I don't know. There's just a lot.
Especially because like we're like, oh, here's a product. Let's decide our rest of our company. Like, okay, should we just
Well,
like vote on it then?
Can you have just a clothing brand with just a cashmere sweater? I get into breadth issues, I think, and then the tariff thing that he mentioned too makes me nervous. And is it harder to advertise that than?
Zero
I
tariff
don't.
on, I
What's
think
that?
there's a tariff on like cotton and cashmere and things like that. I don't think will be tariffed on them. That's why I chose that product, because I think it would be really easy to import. But maybe we could just import the cashmere and actually like, you know, make the sweaters there in Russia, and then work with like a franchise company there and a marketing company there, so that we can understand the legislation and, you know, the different, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think the pharmaceutical thing could be really good too, especially as far as like marketing and things like that. I just see it all the time on social media. You know, it's just as far as your approach to it of getting your prescription, then getting your prescription sent to you from online.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
The reason why I chose it initially was because like Nathan was talking about earlier, like Russians don't like mental health problems. the old school ones don't.
They're
But,
super
like,
conservative. Yeah.
they're very conservative, but like the new generation coming up is becoming more conscious about their health and their mental health. And so I think like our target would be probably like mid 30s on, like younger.
Yeah.
And so
which is why social media would work. I mean, they even do that with birth control, you know, like they're doing these companies where you can get your prescription, and then it will just send it to you in the mail for your birth control, so that you're not having to go to Planned Parenthood or whatever.
Right.
But I think that would be a good, as far as just like advertising goes. I think we could do a lot with social media with that, and like YouTube, and I don't know. I think the advertising would be easier for that one. But
we can really play on that stigma that's there.
Yeah. Let's just do a vote in the chat so we can actually see.
I'm torn. Because he's mentioned a couple of things that why it could be iffy to do the clothing, but
I see issues with both sides too. Like I'm like,
I see both sides.
Harder
Yeah.
in different areas.
I think both would be good. Honestly,
let's do both. Let's really.
We'll do pills and clothes.
The cashmere sweaters come with depression meds in the pocket.
In the pocket.
You're that uptight that you have to wear cashmere all the time. Maybe you need to take some medication.
The cashmere makes you feel better by itself, okay?
Who needs depression meds when you have cashmere?
I do think though, with like the clothing line, it will be the like actual making of it will be easy, because like I said, we could just import and then make it there.
To that point though, the drugs, you could easily import the stuff you make them, or import the actual pills from China or something like that.
Actually, South Korea would be better.
What's that?
South Korea is cheaper.
Okay.
All right.
I'm just wondering, we'd have to do a lot of research as far as like what's accepted there and what kind of like tariffs we'd have.
One thing I did look up was if it was approved in Russia and you can actually get it in and out of the country. It's the only depression medication you can get in and out of the country.
Monopoly right there.
They don't have it there at all right
So
now?
they have it, but like it's the only one that's allowed. So they don't have any other brands. Like there's no knockoff brand. There's no nothing.
There'd be
Like
a lot of competition though, if that's the only one that
you
they can
just have large competition, not so many of them. Like there's 3 companies that supply them, but because they're not paid for by the social medication, like their social funds, you have to do it by yourself. And that's why they price them way higher, which is why I thought we could have more moderate prices since we're not like politically leaning anywhere.
Do any of us feel bad about drugging the Russian population?
Oh, promotion pricing is going to be awesome in that. We're going to cut them in half, the wholesale. It's going to be great. They're going to be a happier people because of us.
Happier Russians means a safer world. Okay?
Exactly.
I'm gonna get addicted too, so we're gonna have clients for a long time because they're gonna
Repeat customers.
Yeah, so
They keep coming back for more. That's terrible. It was supposed to be a good thing, guys.
I'm anti-medication, so that's just my opinion. But I'm just kidding.
I'm more homeopathic too. I need cashmere sweaters instead.
But we need to make a profit, so I'm down with it.
That's true. There's a lot of profit in meds.
Yeah, we're gonna be the big pharma.
But I do
Big
think that
pharma.
people are going to get on it and then want to keep buying more and more. I mean, at least it gives us a reason for them to keep buying it every single month, you know?
Yeah, it's a continuous. Their problems don't go away. So
Mhm.
that's horrible. Like I feel bad now.
And I think the advertisement is a clever, like I said, the play on a Russian understanding that we have. So it makes us look like we understand the Russians a little more, I think, which is cool. And not just that the middle class is rising and that cashmere might be in. I think the understanding that
You underestimate clothes, okay?
right, that's right. Yeah, I probably do.
Women in clothes is different than men in clothes. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if we did the pharmaceutical one, it would be a pricier product. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, cashmere is expensive, but like in the long run, because you have to pay for the engineers to make their drug, you got to import it, and then I'm thinking if we were to go the meds route, you would need to market as the Russian company, because they're not going to trust American drugs.
I just think there's a lot of we're going to face a lot of trials in general, especially with just like, they had kind of a fascist government where they'll suppress certain things and not allow certain, I don't know, maybe they won't allow it, period. I don't know.
Yeah. So.
Well, they've already allowed this one, right?
Yeah. So the drug itself has been like, you can import it.
How does Putin feel about cashmere?
I have seen him in a nice scarf lately. If Putin can have it, you can too.
All right, we got meds from Gabriel, meds from Carrie. Carrie doesn't talk now, he just types.
Even though his audio's on.
And I'm 50-50.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. The requirements of the paper and choose one that would be easier to write about. Another hard thing is a lot of these websites are in Russian. So
What?
like the information itself, I had to translate a lot of it. So yeah.
You know Russian?
I'm actually in Russian right now.
What?
So, yeah, I'm taking Russian. That's my international studies language.
Wow.
That's how I got in this group, guys.
Nice.
Okay. Which, if you need help for advertising and stuff, you want to go that route, like, I can help you.
Wait, I was reading the comments. What'd you say? You're what, Russian?
Oh, I'm taking Russian classes here. So I have a lot of connections into there. So if we want to do like a subtitled thing or anything.
Das vidanya.
There's actually an extension on the Google Doc or the Google
Yeah, the translate.
that will translate everything to Russian for us.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Alrighty. Well, okay. So, I mean, it's my idea, but I say let's do meds.
Oh, Tara's saying meds.
Clothing. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, fine. Cashmere it is.
Hey, Jacqueline's the editor, guys. She makes the call.
Right? She like edits everything to say
Yeah.
cashmere instead. Okay.
I really don't care either way. I think that Gabriel has a good point. Maybe we should wait until we get the rubric and then see what would be easiest, but I don't know. I think the
They're both
med,
gonna have issues, probably.
I'm good with the meds too, if that's what we want to do.
Okay. Well, let's say that we're going with the meds for right now. If we get the rubric and we feel like that's not, address it to the group so that we can figure that out. I think you'll hit most of the points. It's just going to be the research that's going to take a little time.
With that, y'all. I'm just kidding. Okay. Well, as far as like splitting it up, I did kind of look over all the different parts and like weighed it out to see, and just to see like who would be best at each part. And I was thinking, well, actually, Armani and I were talking, maybe trying to get it like our due date next Tuesday. That way we have the rest of the week to like edit and change some stuff. So, because I don't want to wait till last minute and get everybody's stuff. I just feel like that just hasn't worked up until now. So we need to push up our due dates just so that we can make sure that it's, you know, where we need it to be by the time we get it in. So we're thinking Tuesday, trying to get everybody's in, and that way we can go and edit and change things as we need to.
Like a rough draft version, because like, especially for like the video and like the logo and everything, we're going to want at least to have like, this is what I'm going to do. Like, this is the video I'm making, or this is like, for the writing, that'll be easy because you can just paste that right into there. But Tuesday, we can talk about the things that are on the paper so that we have something to talk about next Tuesday instead of just like, is everyone doing it? Yeah, okay. Does that make sense?
And then we have section 5, which kind of needs to be done by 4. Gabriel suggested that 5 and 4 should be the same person, but I think that's pretty weighty to give someone both of those sections.
Yeah, because section
Maybe not. I don't know.
5, that's 8 points.
Actually, that's 8 points. That's not too bad.
Wait, section 5 is 8 points?
Both of them combined are 7 points. Sorry.
Okay. So 2, 3, and 4 are each 3 points each, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, Armani, like 2, 3. This is just what I was thinking that I wrote down before we even started, just looking over them. And we could change it, and you guys don't have to go with this if you don't want to. But I was thinking 2, 3, and 4 Armani, just because it's your idea and your product, and I don't know.
Started, yeah.
Just because I was reading over it, and it's not like a ton of hard information. I know it's like 3 sections, but I don't think it's like super hard information.
Well, I was looking at the information I already have, and I have a lot of it already from like the research I was doing.
Okay.
That's fine.
Wait, 3 sections? 3 entire sections?
They're little.
They're not. They're each worth 3 points.
Okay.
Like I
Okay.
said, I've already went and read each one of them.
Okay.
And yeah. But this is just an idea if anybody wants a certain section. So I was thinking Eduardo with 5, and I could help there with that. And then Gabriel 6, Tara 7, Nathan 8, Carrie 9. Because 9, I think, is kind of one of the harder ones, Carrie, and I feel like you're good
Sure.
as far as like info and making sure that it's going to be right. So I feel like 9 looked the hardest to me. So I feel like you would be the best at that one. Nathan, I'm not sure. Obviously, you haven't done one yet. So 7.
8's good. I do promotion business development in my business, so that's good.
For 8.
For 8?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Tara, I thought Tara, I mean, I read over all the papers, and I think Tara is a good writer. I think just make sure that you're following the rubric, and you'll be good too. But I do think that the stuff you put together was really well done and well written. So I think you'll be good with 7.
Okay.
And then, anyway, and then Gabriel 6, and I could help out with that. I think that's the creative part. So I don't know how Gabriel feels about that. But like I said, I don't mind helping out with that part if we want to work on that together. And then Eduardo 5.
8's got a commercial if we want to do the video. I don't know if I'll do a video by next Tuesday, but I could do a storyboard for sure.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know if we even get bonus points for doing a video. Do we want to really stretch ourselves? I mean, we kind of have a hard time getting our crap together for an actual due date.
Really cheesy, like prescription videos where they're like,
Yeah.
Like staring out the window and they're like,
they like
Like a long list of side effects.
Yeah.
Can cause death, seizures, nausea,
Yes.
intense diarrhea.
Thoughts. That would be funny. We should do that. Oh my gosh.
Just have the
But I
side
could read them in Russian.
They sound worse in Russian, okay?
Butcher it and just butcher it.
That would be
It's
funny.
literally a verb to make dead.
Yeah.
So we're ready for this, yeah.
That's funny. Well, maybe we could even do another meeting like Friday or I don't know.
Just like a check-in meeting.
Yeah. For the people who want to. For the people who have maybe like more marketing stuff. But
I'd rather do that Saturday morning as far as my scheduling goes, but if you guys want to do it, it's fine. Just for my availability next.
I couldn't do either, so.
I'm just-
What's that?
Did I sleep on Saturdays?
I wish I slept on Saturday.
I have 5 kids. I don't sleep.
You have 5 kids?
I do.
Wow.
You have 5 kids, Nathan?
I do. Yeah.
What? You look like
There's number 2. He's 11. 14 to 2 years old.
you have a 14-year-old kid?
I do. Yeah.
Wow. I thought you were like 19.
You mean I'm immature? Okay, it's okay.
These are my siblings.
If the shoe fits. These are my siblings. Yeah.
I thought I was the only old one here with kids.
I got 4.
What?
What? How old are you, Carrie?
36.
Okay, I thought everyone here was like mid-20s, like late 20s.
I am. Yes. I started when I was 16.
Okay, well, I got a baby and that's it.
You have a what? A baby? You have a baby?
Yeah, he's 7 months.
What?
Yeah.
I'm 24. I'm not 18, though.
That's a good thing, though. For sure.
Trying to start early so I can kick about the house early. But
Okay. So do we want to stick with those, or anybody want to swap or have any thoughts about the sections?
let me look at them. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So you're good with 2, 3, and 4 on money? I don't
Yeah.
think it should be too hard. I think it'd be.
No, I already have pretty much one or part 2 already done. So like
Okay.
what I had before. So I'm not even worried about it. Yeah.
Okay, so 2, 3, 4 Armani, 5 Eduardo, 6 Gabriel, 7 Tara, 8 Nathan, and 9 Carrie.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
And we're going to wait till that rubric comes out to decide what we're going to do, because I can't do anything on advertising really, unless a lot of us can't do much until we find out. I guess the rubric's going to come out in 30 minutes and we can give our seal of approval at that time. I don't know. Or do you just want to say, let's just do meds, or let's just do cashmere?
Let's just do meds for now, and if, after we look over it, if we want to switch, just email or something, text. Hey, Tara,
Okay.
is Tara still here? Oh, yeah. Tara, will you put your number in the comments?
Yeah.
Add you to our group text.
Yeah.
About time for a new one for our new project.
Right.
Yeah, we'll start a new one for sure. Good idea.
Did you guys see the instructions? They were a little different than the other projects. It talks about using, if you're going to create a chart, you have to do an original chart, avoid copying graphs and things like that. But I don't think we have any like real charts to put in there this time. I just noticed that instruction.
Well, you're the chart expert, right, Armani?
And then also this one should only be 12 to 20 pages if it's double spaced, and 6 to 10 single spaced. So try to make it like exactly to the point, exactly what's on the rubric, not very long.
No
But
fluff.
I think ours are always end up on the long side, and I think he just wants them a little more condensed.
No considering and therefore, and he doesn't like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Info, that's it.
Armani, where are you seeing that stuff?
So it's on the page where it says like meet with your group. If you click on it, it'll take you to the element A instructions, and that's where it is.
So I'm going to create a Google Doc and put that all on there.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
I'll do each section and subsection so that that's already on there too. And all you guys are going to have to do is either one, send me the Google or the Word document, or two, upload it to Google Docs, which I think it's easier for Word just so that we can keep the sourcing the same. But maybe just write notes on there like done or sent under your section on the Google Doc, just so we can like make sure we know where everyone's at.
Okay.
So you prefer Word? Just send you the Word?
I think so, just because it makes it easier for the sourcing, like for the footnotes. So everyone make sure you do the footnote method.
Mhm.
That way, is that what you did, Nathan? Just like
Yeah, I could not successfully get the Google. I was like literally copying and creating the footnote in Word and then pasting it. It was annoying.
So
So
when you did the Word, you just numbered it, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think Word would probably be easier. And then if you want to, I don't know, just update in Google Docs. We don't even need to use a Google Doc if you don't want to. But
I think that might be more for just showing us that we're doing something, that it's
Let's have a Google Doc up
Proceeding,
until
yeah.
next Tuesday, and
Mhm.
that's when we'll move it to the Word. So like we'll cite our information, but we're not going to put it in footnotes yet, and then we can transfer it to the Word document
okay,
after Tuesday, because then we can see that everyone's putting in their section up until then.
okay.
If that doesn't make it too hard.
no. I'll just have a running Google Doc and a Word doc, and that's not hard at all. Yeah, but the footnotes will all be in my Word document
Yeah, my footnote. Put your footnotes in Word.
Yeah.
But
because that will copy directly over into the master document, and it changes the numbers on it and everything according to the flow.
oh, nice. Okay.
That's perfect. Yeah.
So everyone
Yeah. Part A was a beast trying to, because everyone had it in the bottom of their whole section basically. So you had to paste them in. Yeah. Anyways, I'm having PTSD.
Well,
Okay.
so when you think of a company name, I guess if we're gonna do the meds, maybe think about it for the next couple days. But I gotta run. I got an accounting test I gotta take.
All right, cool. Yeah, I got to go to my math group now. Looking-
All right.
Okay.
So
Oh, what's the
See y'all next week.
anything else?
Oh,
I don't think so.
I was
Okay. Anything else?
Are we doing another like check-in meeting? When are we doing that?
Tuesday, I thought.
do you know where?
Well, can we talk about Friday, Saturday? Do you just want to do it on Tuesday?
I probably can't do Saturday morning. I have both my kids are in baseball tournaments.
What I'll do is I'll put out my Zoom information for Friday night, and I will also have one Saturday morning. So if you guys want to check in on Friday, I'll be here. If you want to check in on Saturday morning, I'll be there too. I got time. So
How would that be?
yeah, it would be like 5 seconds. Just like, hey, if you have any questions about what you're doing, any concerns about a previous section, then
Everything. Every question I'm gonna have, I'm gonna take to Brother John's to the office.
good idea. Okay, literally though, so key to Brother John's, if you say, this is what I know, and then you leave out what you need, and you just ask him exactly the questions, he will give you the answers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
He was kind of doing that tonight, roughly, yeah, with some of the
yeah.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
if you need help, go to him because he will literally give you the answers.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I gotta go, guys.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Yep. Thanks, guys.